we are going to go into week 6. You guys are already partway through week 6 if you've taken Cindy's class, but this is the second half of week 6. Welcome back. We're going to start with our warm-up. Again, our warm-up today, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 exercises, 2 rounds, 30 seconds each exercise, and I'm going to be using my phone as a timer. All right, so the warm-up, you'll have about 30 seconds per exercise. The first one, what I want you to do is I want you to find a wall. I'm just going to have you lean up against the wall. Make sure that your back is fully flat up against that wall. And then as you exhale, I just want you to raise your arms overhead. Arms don't need to be straight, but I want you to keep that back against the wall. Overhead extensions. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. 30 seconds in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. So we're overhead extensions here. Slight bend in the knees, nice soft knees, overhead extension. You're about halfway through, so we want to really start to open up those shoulders. You should be feeling it in your shoulders, in between your shoulder blades. Make sure not to shrug your shoulders while you raise your hands up. And in 3, 2, 1, nicely done. We're going to reach our hand out to the side, gently pulling our head in the opposite direction. Feel free to lift the hand and lower it. All right, we'll start in 3, 2, 1. Go ahead. Out to the side. Here, and we'll switch sides in 3, 2, 1. Other side, up and down. Gently pulling your head, so you should feel this all along here when you do these. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nicely done. Give yourselves a second. And then the next one we're going into is hamstring stretches. So you're going to stand with your feet a little wider than shoulder width apart. You're going to come down, touch the toes if you can without locking the legs. Keep it relatively straight though. If you can't touch the toe, mid-shin. If you can't touch the shin, just knee here. But we're going to pause for 3 counts, shift over, pause for 3 counts. All right, we will start in 3, 2, 1. 30 seconds. Pause for 3 counts here. Let me just turn down that music. Pause for 3 counts, 1, 2, 3, and then you shift yourself over, 1, 2, 3. You should feel the stretch all along the back of your leg. So along that posterior chain, your glutes, your hamstrings, your quad, your calves, and shift. And in 3, 2, 1, awesome job. We're going to go into our arm circles now, forward and back. Starting forward, we'll go in 3, 2, 1. Little circles. As we go, they're going to get bigger. So you're doing full circles. And in 3, 2, 1. Other direction, start small. Getting out wider. So you should feel these in your delts right here. Getting bigger. Full circles in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to go into a staggered stance here. So you're nice and light on your front leg, back leg is just there for balance. So this should be pretty comfortable. You're here, and you're just going to go into torso rotations or punches. All right? We'll go in 3, 2, 1. All one side. I'll tell you when to switch legs. 15 seconds here, focusing on rotating that rib cage. A nice mobile rib cage. Core is still engaged, though. You can go slow. You can go fast. You should also feel it in that front leg because that front leg is supporting you. 3, 2, 1. I'll give everyone a second. Shake off the leg if you need. Switch sides. Other side in 3, 2, 1. Go ahead. If you want, you can put a little bit more power into your punches, or you can keep it light. It is up to you. But your back toe is up, so you're up on the toe. You're not flat foot here. You're up on the toe. And you're going into your torso rotation. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Recover. 30 seconds of recovery. Get some water if you need. Towel off. Shake everything off. We've got one more round of our warm-up before we go into the main workout. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying these classes. I think we have 2 weeks left after this. So this is week 6, 8 weeks of this. All right, guys, going back into round 2, heading up against that wall, overhead extensions. We will start all together. I'll give you guys time to get to the walls. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, leaning up against that wall, overhead extension. Touch the wall, the arms don't need to be straight. Keeping that back against the wall as you do these. Halfway through, you got 15 seconds. And then 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nicely done. We're gonna have our hand out to the side, gently pulling our head in the opposite direction, and then lift and lower. We'll start in 3, 2, 1. Let's go all one side, lift, pause, and lower. Pause, lift, pause, lower. Lift and lower. One more, lift and lower. Switch sides. Other side, same thing. Lift, lower, lift, lower. When you lift up, you should feel it all along your forearms as well. Keep the shoulders away from your ears. No shrugging. Keep those shoulders down. And in 3, 2, 1. Feet wide. We're going to go into our hamstring stretches. So you're either going to come down, touch your toe, touch your shin, or touch your knee, and you're going to shift back and forth. We'll go in 3, 2, 1. Keep the legs relatively straight, but you don't actually have to lock the legs. So they don't have to be locked, but you don't need to have them fully straight either. Shift over. Shift over. You just want to feel this along the back of your leg. If you're feeling it along the back of your legs, that's totally fine. If you have a little bit more bend in your legs, that's okay as well. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to go into our arm circles. Hands out to the side, parallel to the ground. Forward circles to start. Start little and they get bigger. We'll go in 3, 2, 1. So we start little circles. Slowly getting bigger. The circles don't have to be too big. If you can't go all the way, that's all right. But get as big as you can. 3, 2, 1. Other direction, little ones. Getting a little bigger. With your arms fully extended, this is not usually a move that we do in everyday life. So you will start to feel it weirdly in your wrists, in your forearms, and in your fingertips. That is okay. 3, 2, 1. Nicely done. Into our staggered stance. So remember, we're up on our toes here. We're not flat foot. We're up on our toes. Most of the weight in that front leg. And we're going to go into our rotation. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's go torso rotation. If you're noticing that your balance is a little off today, that is okay. Focus on getting your legs in train tracks instead of having them in line like a balance beam. Train tracks will help you with the balance. 3, 2, 1. We're going to switch sides. Really rotating that torso. Nice movement in that rib cage, keeping it nice and mobile. People tend to get pretty stiff up in that rib cage, so we want to be able to move. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Recover. Get some water. Hang out a little bit. I'll give you guys about 30 seconds of recovery, and then we're going into our main set. So we've got 4 main sets today. Each set has 3 exercises. All right? And I'm going to demo, then you'll go, then I'll demo, then you'll go, then I'll demo, and then you'll go. That is the first round. Round 2, we'll do all those 3 exercises again. I will continue to do the exercises, so if you forget what they are, feel free to look at me. But we're going to go through 2 rounds before we switch it up. All right? So here is what we're starting. We are starting with body weight squats, and these are your options. So if you want to add weights, you can. We're no longer doing chair options because we've progressed. If you're still feeling like you're uncomfortable just doing a squat, you can have the chair there just in case, but we're trying to move away from the chair now. All right, so body weight squats, you want your feet wide enough, shoulder width apart, maybe a little bit wider, depends on how comfortable you are getting down and low. You're gonna come down, driving your knees out towards your second or third toe. If you wanna add weights, you can hold them in your hands here. If not, you're just gonna go into your squat. So notice my knees are driving out towards my toes. I'm not caving in when I squat, down and up. If you want to make it a little bit more challenging, so 1 step up, we're going to go into tempo squats. So we're going to keep it slow. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. yours a little bit more challenging. All right, and then the last option is a dynamic version of the squat. We're going into in and out squats. So these ones, it's the same thing. It doesn't matter what your legs are doing. You always drive your knees towards the second or third toe and you never let them cave in. So right now we're in and out squat, start wide, regular squat, then you're gonna take a step closer, narrow, and again, wide, narrow. Notice my narrow squats, my knees are not caving and clamping together. They're still out like that. All right, guys, those are your 3 options. You choose your squat variation. We're gonna go for about 40 seconds here, and we will start you choose squats in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. So body weight squats. I usually reach my arm forward, or you can reach it all the way out for balance, your choice. So here, when you're going into your squats, you should feel it in your quads, right here in the front. If you're doing tempo, it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And if you're doing in and out, the dynamic move, squat. You can alternate sides if you want. 10 more seconds. And in 3, 2, 1, nicely done. Next exercise, guys. So there's only one option for this exercise, but this depends on how strong you are or how advanced you are. You'll go lower or you won't go as low. All right, so these are now pendulum lunges. We progressed again. If you need to hold on to something for balance, that's totally fine. Hold on to something. And again, remember, train track, not balance beam. So instead of your legs like this, train tracks. That will help with your balance, but keep your hips square too. One leg is planted. My right leg doesn't move. My left leg is going to go a forward and a reverse lunge. Notice my right leg hasn't moved. Forward and a reverse lunge. If you can't do this, we're going to just do the same thing, except you're going to stop without getting all the way down. And you'll feel it all in this front leg. And if you're really struggling, you're just going to step forward and back. All right? So these are your options. We will do all one side, starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's go, pendulum lunges. So if you need to hold on to something for balance, you're here holding on to that something if you need. Remember, you don't have to come down and touch the knees to the ground like what I'm doing. You can just stop halfway, or you can just take a forward step and a back step. You're about halfway through. We'll switch sides, other side. So when you switch the other side, you shouldn't be having to move or anything. You just switch legs. So we don't need to slow down for this one. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Awesome job, guys. Lateral lunges now. So again, we're going a little bit more dynamic with our moves. Instead of having our feet planted, our feet are going to move now. So we start with our feet together. You're going to take a step out to the side. Opposite hand's going to touch the toe. Back. Opposite hand touches the toe. We'll do all one side and switch at the halfway mark. Here, if you can't touch the toe, touch the shin. If you can't touch the shin, touch the knee. All right. So lateral lunges with lateral lunges. If you can touch the toe, do it. If not, it's totally fine. And we will all start one side in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. So step out to the side, back to standing. Step out to the side, back to standing. This is teaching your body to be able to shift that weight around. It's helping with that body awareness too, because you notice when you're here, weight's in this leg, but when you're here, weight's in the bent leg. So you have to shift that body weight around. And in 3, 2, 1, we're going to switch to the other side. So we start again with our feet together, stepping out to the other side. We'll go in 3, 2, 1. So let's go ahead. Touch the toe if you can. If not, touch the shin. If not, touch the knee. But you are shifting your weight. Doesn't matter what option you're choosing, you are shifting your weight and you're learning how to counterbalance your own body weight. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take a breather. 30 seconds of recovery. 1 round done, 1 round to go. So we started with our body weight, tempo, or in and out squats. I will demo them before we start. So get some water, shake off your legs, shake off your arms. And if round one felt pretty easy for you, round two, feel free to progress and add weight. If round one felt really hard, feel free to take a step back and choose the easier version. All right, here we go. Body weight squats, tempo squats, or in and out squats, starting in 3, 2, 1. So the body weight squats are these. Tempo squats are 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And the in and out squats are wide, narrow, wide, narrow. Your choice. You should be able to feel your abs brace the entire time. Core is tight halfway through. So here, you're feeling it in your quads, not in your hamstrings. Quads here. Nice neutral spine, nice straight line from your head to your tailbone. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nicely done, guys. We're gonna go pendulum lunges now. So these are the ones where we're holding on to something if we need. One leg doesn't move, the other leg does a forward and reverse lunge around it. Remember, train track, nice and wide stance, hips square, all right? Pendulum lunges in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Remember, if you can't go all the way down, just forward and back as low as you can. And if you can't do that at all, just a forward and back step. 3, 2, 1, switch sides, so stay where you are, other leg does the movement. Seconds to go. Remember, you don't have to go all the way down if you can't. 3, 2, 1, awesome job. The last one, guys, lateral lunges, a dynamic lateral lunge. Feet start together, take a step out, tap. Back together, out to the side, tap. So you're always starting back in this pencil position. Take a side to start, and we'll go in 3, 2, 1. Lateral lunges, either touching the toe, or touching the shin, or touching the knee. But your weight is being shifted back and forth from one leg to the other. So notice, when I come down into the lunge, my weight's in my bent leg. When I come up into the stand, I almost don't have to touch my foot to the ground, all right? So you're shifting the weight to the standing leg and then out to the lunge leg. 3, 2, 1, switching sides. I'll give everyone a second to get comfortable. Other side, we'll start in 3, 2, 1. So feet start together, take a step out. Shifting that weight. Get as low as you can. So the lowest version, touching the floor, is the hardest. The knee is the easiest. So you choose the version that works for you. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Recover. Take a breather. You guys have a minute of recovery. We're going to switch it up now. We're going to go focus on our core. So again, core is very important. It protects your back usually, because if you can embrace your core here or brace your core, you'll have a nice neutral spine here and you won't be taking too much pressure in that lumbar spine of yours. All right. So everyone get some water. Have a little bit of time. You know, I'm going to open my door or my window because it is hot in here. All righty, a little bit of a breeze, that's nice. We're going to go ahead and get started with our mountain climber variation. So when you're doing your mountain climbers, you choose the level. If you are on the floor, that's the hardest. If you are up elevated, it's the easiest. All right, so if you are very uncomfortable coming down to the floor, I would recommend something above hip height. So maybe a railing or like my dumbbells here that are above my hip height, all right? And if you feel comfortable, then start to move down lower. Just remember, the lower you are to the ground, the harder it is. All right, so in the mountain climber position, you're either here in the high plank, like this, up on a bench, or you're up here, where it's like a railing, or you're down on the floor. All right, you choose which variation you want. And from here, we're gonna go into mountain climbers. So we're just gonna drive our knees forward. From here, one knee forward, one knee back. Other knee forward, other knee back. If you can't do that, you're just gonna hold your high plank here. All right, guys, you choose your, how deep you want to go, and we will start together in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Mountain climbers, high plank position, in, out, in, out. A good way to do this is have your hands a little wider than your feet. If your hands are too close together, you'll be in a very pencil-like position and it'll be very hard for balance. So if your feet are narrow and your hands are wide, you create a little bit of a tripod so that when you move your leg forward, you're still balanced. You do have that triangle shape. All right. Keep going with those mountain climbers. 10 seconds to go. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nicely done. Next exercise, we're going to be in that same position. All right. So if you are uncomfortable and you thought that was too hard, bring yourself up onto a bed, a chair, whatever you need. And if that was too hard, up onto a railing. All right. So we're going into shoulder tap variation. So similar to the mountain climbers, it is like a plank, except a dynamic plank where you're starting to move limbs. When you are going into your shoulder tap, you want your feet wide and your hands narrow. So it's the opposite of the mountain climber. And the reason is when you lift this hand, this one draws a nice triangle. When you lift this hand, draws a nice triangle, and that way it's a little bit easier for balance than if you were like this, and then you get all wobbly. All right, so here in our shoulder tap, we're just here, and we're just gonna tap our shoulders. Notice when I'm tapping my shoulders, my hips aren't moving at all, because I'm shifting my body weight back and forth, keeping my core tight and my obliques on. All right, guys, shoulder tap variation. You choose how high you wanna go, and we will go in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Shoulder tap. Hands narrow, feet wide, so the opposite of those mountain climbers, nice and controlled. Hips do not move, core is tight, abs are on. Watch your hips, don't let your hips sag like this. All right, you're gonna bring your hips up and tuck your butt into that sad dog tail or that Michael Jackson dance. Throwing those hips forward, scooping that bowl forward of your pelvis. Keeping that core engaged the whole time. If you are up on a bench, that's fine. You're here, same thing. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Last one, guys. This one we are going to go down to the ground. So I'm going to give everyone a second to get down to the ground. These are your options. We won't start yet. I'm just going to demo them. Oh, let me change my angle so that you guys can see a little better. Yeah, that's a little better. Okay, so we're here on the ground. You have an option. If your neck tends to get sore, feel free to have your hands under your head and just holding your head up. You're going to have your legs out here in the hollow body, like a banana. All right, there's no space between my back and the ground here. So you're here, abs are on, no space between your back and the ground. This is version 1. Version 2, we're going into crunches. So you bring your legs down into that glute bridge position. Your hands are straight on the ground, and you're just going to reach for your heels and back. So this is version 2, a little bit more challenging. And then version 3, this is if you are advanced, your legs are straight, your hands are up, and you're going to sit up and nice and tall. And then if you want to make this even more challenging, feel free to add a weight in your hands while you do your straight leg sit up. All right, guys, so everyone should be down on the ground by now. And I will give you all a second. You choose hollow body holds, crunches, or your straight leg sit up. We will start in 3, 2, 1. So hollow body holds are either out like this banana or your hand behind your head banana. If not, feet are planted, crunches, reaching for your heels. You don't have to touch the heels if you can't, but you're just pulling yourself up into that direction. And then the last one, legs straight, hands towards the ceiling, sitting up nice and tall. Your goal is to keep your feet in contact with the ground. If you can't, and there's a little bit of a movement, that's okay, but try to bring it down as soon as possible. 10 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Recover. You've got 30 seconds of recovery. We'll do everything again. So we started with our mountain climber variation. So remember, mountain climber variation, hands are wide, feet are narrow. Same thing when I move this leg, I do have that triangle, so it does help with balance as opposed to here. This is a lot more wobbly than this. All right? All right, guys, getting into that high plank position, either on the floor, on the bench, or on a railing. We will start with our mountain climbers, starting in 3, 2, 1. Mountain climber variation. So you're here, hands are wider than your feet, driving your knees forward. It doesn't need to touch your elbow. You're just driving it into that direction of the elbow. Same thing on the ground. Doesn't need to touch the elbow. You're just driving it straight in front. And the same thing, it's going to be harder to do this, but if you notice that your hips are sagging while you do them, and you can't drive your knees forward, pull your hips up, that gives you space. You need to have space for your knees to come forward. If you don't have space, that's a good teller sign that your hips are too low and you're dropping your hips. 3, 2, 1. Give yourselves a second. Feel free to stretch out your arms because we're going to be in that same position. So stretch out your arms a little bit. And then we're going to go into our shoulder tap. So this time is the opposite. Shoulder tap, feet wide. This time, hands narrow, and we're going to tap our shoulders. Either on the railing, on the bench, or on the floor. We will go shoulder taps in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Shoulder taps here. Abs are on, butt is tucked, so you're not sticking your butt up in the air. Butt is tucked. And you're going to go into your shoulder tap. If you're on the floor, that's awesome. If you're on a bench, that's awesome. And if you're still on a railing, that is still awesome. You are moving, and better is better. Halfway through, you got 20 seconds. That's what I always like to tell people. Better is always better. Do not compare yourself to other people, just compare yourself to yourself. And if last week you couldn't move your hands at all, and today you get to lift your hands a little bit and just tap, that's awesome. That is better. 3, 2, 1. Awesome job, guys. This is the last one where we're going to come down to the ground. I'm going to adjust my camera again.
Sorry, Hua, I have a question for you. In that last one, I couldn't see if your knees were on the ground or not on the shoulder taps.
My knees are not on the ground.
Okay.
So the last one, we're going to flip over onto our back, so everyone should have some time to get to the ground. And these are your options. You get to go into your hollow body hold with either your hands under your head or up in that banana, your choice. Or we're going to go into our crunches. So in the glute bridge position with your feet here, reaching for your heels. And then the last one is legs straight, straight leg sit up. All right, guys, we will start all together in 3, 2, 1. Go ahead. So your straight leg sit up here. If you're doing your crunches, you're here, reach back. If you can touch your heels, awesome. If not, that's okay. Just pull yourself in the direction of your heels. You're about halfway through. And then the last one, you're in that hollow body hold. Hollow body hold can get pretty tiring too, so take breaks whenever you need, and then go right back into it. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Recover. Get water. Hang out. You guys have 1 minute of recovery before we switch it up. Get some water, shake off whatever you need to shake off. If your upper body is a little tight from being in the high plank, feel free to do a couple shoulder rolls. Just shake everything off. You should be nice and loose, nice and comfortable. You guys are doing really well. In about 30 seconds, we're gonna go into hip dominant exercises and start working our hamstrings and that posterior chain, so along that back. All righty, guys, here we go. We are gonna go into our RDLs. So again, I called them They're called Romanian deadlifts, but I like to think of them as reverse deadlifts because usually when you're deadlifting, your weight is on the ground, you come down, grab the weight, and then stand up with the weight. With the Romanian deadlift or the reverse deadlift, you start with the weight in your hands, and then you come down, and then back up. All right? So with these RDLs, we're gonna start bilateral, both legs on the ground, about shoulder width apart, so you're here. If you're using weights, you can, you don't have to though. So here, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trace my legs, just have my hands pushing against my legs. I'm gonna have nice soft knees and pull my butt towards the wall behind me. So I'm here, trace, trace, trace. Notice as I'm coming down, there's a straight line from my head to my tailbone. I'm not rounding and I'm not sticking my butt up. All right, so here, you're just gonna trace all the way down till you're about mid-shin with your hands. Mid-shin, feeling it in your hamstrings here, and then right back up. So this can be done with weights as well, holding those weights and back up. On the way down, it's slower than on the way up so that we can really load that hamstring. That's version 1. Version 2, you can also use weights for version 2, but you don't have to. We're gonna do the same thing, RDL down, and then this time all the way up and reach. If you have weights, you're gonna do that press overhead. So down, up and press, all right? And then version number 3, this is the most challenging version. You're gonna come down into your RDL, but this time you're gonna touch the floor and walk yourself out into a high plank, then back into your RDL. RDL down, walk yourself into the high plank, back into the RDL. All right, guys, these are your options. Just regular ones. You can do it with the overhead reach, or you can do it into a high plank walkout. We will all start together in 3, 2, 1. So here, coming down, pause, and back up. 1, 2, 3 down, and 1 up. That is the count. So you want to be slow on the way down, and then faster on the way up. If you're doing the reach, it's slow on the way down, then faster on the way up, all the way over. 1, 2, 3 down, all the way up. And then the last one, you're here, 1, 2, 3 down, and then a walk, walk, walk until you're in that high plank, back up. All right, so we're loading up those hamstrings. And in 3, 2, 1, nicely done. Next exercise, we're working on balance and mobility in those hips. So we're going into our single leg deadlift. So single leg deadlift, you can hold on to something for balance if you need, or you can do it without, completely up to you. If you want to add weights, I'll show you how to do that, okay? So we're here, and what we're gonna do is we're just gonna kick our leg back, reach our hands forward to the wall behind you. So you're here, touch, and back, or reach and back. You don't have to touch anything really. So you're here. Notice how this front leg is nice and soft knees. That's what we want. You don't need to have it completely straight and just hinge forward like that. All right, so slight bend in the knee is fine. If you're holding on to something for balance, that's fine. Just reach the other arm and back. And if you're holding weights, you're holding your weights here, kicking down, and you're just gonna do what we did, mid-shin, and then back up. All right? Those are your versions. If you are comfortable and you want to make it a little bit more challenging for balance, you can do the same thing, up into a balance. Same thing, up into a balance. All right, guys, we will all start one side in 3, 2, 1. Go ahead. So single leg deadlift, or you can go into single leg deadlift into your balance, or you can hold on to something, or you can have your weights. And in 3, 2, 1, give yourself a second. I'm going to have you guys switch sides. So everyone will take a little bit of time to switch sides. And we will start the other side in 3, 2, 1. Same thing. Reach, reach, reach. Get nice and long. Slight bend in that front leg and back to standing. Slight bend in that front leg, back to standing. If you have those weights, same thing. Down and up. If you're going into your balance, reach and then up. Reach and then up. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nicely done, guys. We're going to slowly make our way to the ground. So I'm going to give everyone a second to be on the ground here. We're going to go into our glute bridge variation. So glute bridges here, feet just past your hands. You should be close to your heels, but you shouldn't be able to touch your heels when your arms are extended. Feet about shoulder width apart. You're gonna press your heels into the ground, lift the hips, driving the knees out, squeezing the glutes. So these are glute bridges. This is version 1, the easiest version. Version 2, you're gonna pull your feet together. One leg is gonna be up, and you're gonna press one heel into the ground, lift, squeezing this glute, and down. And then version 3, so there's 4 versions. You can go back into your bilateral glute bridges, so both legs. If you want, you can go glute bridge up. If you have weights, you can use them or not. Glute bridge up, reach or press your waist, glute bridge down. Glute bridge up, reach or press your waist, glute bridge down. And the last version, this is called a marching glute bridge. So this is the hardest version. You're gonna start with both legs together. Hips come up, both legs are up. From here, keeping your hips right where they are, one leg at a time, lifting. So my legs never come back down. My butt is always up off of the ground. All right, guys? So these are your versions for your glute bridges. We will start together. You choose regular glute bridges, single leg glute bridges, whatever you want. We will start in 3, 2, 1. Go ahead. So regular glute bridges, single leg glute bridges, feet together, one leg up. Glute bridge presses here, double leg glute bridge, press or reach, back down, press or reach, back down. And then the last one, marching glute bridges, bring your feet back together. Hips are up, they stay up the whole time as you march your legs. Marching glute bridges. Got about 10 seconds left in these glute bridges. You should feel it in your butt, in your glutes, and also in your hamstrings behind your thighs. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. 30 seconds. Give everyone a second to stand back up. Round 1 done, round 2 to go. All right, guys, so we're going into round 2 of the same 3 exercises. RDLs to the reach, or RDLs to your walkout. And we will start in 3, 2, 1. So at any point, if you want to add the weights, you can. You don't have to. But you can't have weights when you're doing your walkout because you do have to walk your hands out. That's the only thing. Halfway through. So remember, it's slower on the way down, a little quicker on the way up. It doesn't have to be like slow motion. You just want to really engage those hamstrings. So just enough to create tension. If you just fall into place, it's not going to create any tension. You want to really feel it, pull yourself into place. 3, 2, 1. Nicely done. We're going to go into our single leg deadlift variation. So version 1, holding onto something for balance, reaching and back. Version 2, no balance, reaching and back. Version 3 with weight, down and back. And version 4, we're gonna reach up into this balance here. All right, guys, you choose your version. All one side, starting in 3, 2, 1. Go ahead. And in 3, 2, 1, take a second. We're gonna switch to the other side. Other side starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Same thing. You can either reach, you can reach into your balance. You can go reach down for the weight. You choose. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nicely done. Everyone's going to take some time to get yourself to the ground. Glute bridge variations now. So again, repeating from before, bilateral, both legs, glute bridge up, glute bridge down. Single leg glute bridge, one leg up, one leg down, and then we're gonna go into bilateral glute bridge reach or glute bridge press with weight. And then the last one is marching glute bridges, hips up, keeping those hips up as you march. Those are your options. We will start together in 3, 2, 1. Go ahead. Glute bridge variation. Doesn't matter what you choose. And remember, if you choose one thing one round, feel free to switch it up the next round if you want to make it more challenging or less challenging. Listen to your body. You know it best. And you should be able to tell when you're pushing in a good way, like challenging yourself, and pushing until you get injured. If you start to notice that your form is really falling apart, I'm going to have you take that step back. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Awesome job, guys. You have 1 minute of recovery, and then we got one more set to go. So we're going to move to our upper body, our chest, and our shoulders, and our arms. So again, why is this important for biking? We do have to be able to hold our bodies up, depending on how aggressive your stance is. I know most of you guys will be on the blue bikes from Cambridge. Those are pretty upright, but even then, you still need to hold your body up. If you're on a more intense racing bike like mine is, you'll be here. So you do have to be able to have the core and some sort of arm strength to keep yourself up. So that's why we do it, even though this is like a cycling class. Alrighty, guys. This is what we're going to start with. We're going into our push, horizontal push movement. All right. So if you are uncomfortable with push-ups, we're going to go into standing presses. You can add weights if you want, but you don't have to. If you just have your hands, that's totally fine. We're here, soft bend in the knees. We're just going to push our arms. All right. You want to make it a little bit more powerful. If there's someone annoying there, you want to really push them away. That's what we're doing. We're going to push that annoying person away from you. All right. If you don't want to do pushes and you want to make it a little bit more challenging, we're going to go into elevated push-ups. So again, elevated push-ups can be done on the walls here, pushing up. When you're going into your push-ups, remember we want to have our fingertips, the webs of our fingertips first, the thumb and the index point towards our armpits here. So you're going to push like this. All right. Same thing if you're on that elevated surface here, on like a bench or something, it's the same thing. You're going to come down and then up. All right. And if you're on the floor, it is the same thing here, down and up. If you can't do the floor, but you do want to try a push, there's something called a high to low plank. So high to low plank can be done on a bench or on the floor. So this is another horizontal push exercise, and this is your third option. So you start in the high plank and come down into a low plank, back up into the high plank, down, up. All right, if you want to do it on the floor, you're here, down, up, down, up. All right, guys, so these are your versions for your horizontal push exercise. You choose what you want to do: wall push-ups, elevated push-ups, floor push-ups, or high to low planks on the floor or elevated. We will start in 3, 2, 1. And if you don't want to do those push-ups, standing presses. So remember, if you're doing the high plank, high to low plank, you start high plank, come down into the low plank, back up into the high plank, then switch sides. Left side down, left side up. Right side down, right side up. That way you're working both sides equally. About 15 seconds left here. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nicely done, guys. This one is we're going to stay standing. So if you have weights, now is the time to use them. If you don't have weights, that's okay. So one thing to remember, your traps here and your lats are opposite. Most of the time we want to turn on our lats. So down here, if you start to shrug your shoulders and these guys turn on, you actually can't turn these on. So always think they're opposite. If one goes, the other can't. All right. here's how we're gonna do it. We're going into T and I flies. So if you have weights, you can use them now. If not, don't need them. So you're here, you're gonna come out into a T, so you're parallel to the ground. You don't have to come up too high, so just parallel to the ground, then back down, and then all the way straight up and down. All right, out to the side, and then up. We'll start together in 3, 2, 1. Let's go out to the side, pause, back down, all the way up. So when you're here, just notice there is space between my arms and my head. If you're here, you gotta pull your arms out a little bit and bring those shoulders down, all right? So none of this, shoulders, space, and then back down. Out to the side, and then up. So you will feel these in your delts right here, in those arms, in your forearms. This is all arms. And if you add weights, you guys are really cool because that's really hard. Really strong today if you decide to add weights for these. 10 seconds. Also not a movement we do in everyday life, so it makes it even more challenging. Not muscles we use a lot. 3, 2, 1. Awesome job. All right, guys, last one of this set. We are going into a squat to an overhead press. All right, so if you have weights, feel free to use them. If not, it's okay. We're gonna do what we did in the beginning, a squat. If you can't go all the way down to your squat, a half squat is okay. With or without weights here, we're gonna go squat into an overhead press. Squat into an overhead press. All right, we will all start together in 3, 2, 1. Squats your overhead presses. And remember, if you can't go all the way down, just a slight here, just a slight bend is fine. Same thing with those squats, just like the beginning, we don't want those knees to cave in. Driving your knees out towards your second or third toe, about 15 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Recover. You got 30 seconds. One more round of these upper body and chest exercises. So what we started with was our standing presses, wall push-ups, elevated push-ups, or high to low plank, or on the floor or elevated. All right, so you choose which level, how high you want to be. If round one was too hard, just bring yourself up a little bit. If round one was too easy, bring yourself down a little bit. All right, we will start together in 3, 2, 1. Go ahead. So if you are doing your push-ups, you're here pushing up. If not, you're going to come down into your high to low plank. Alternating sides. If you've decided that you're doing standing presses with or without weights here, I'm going to push that person away. That's what we want. Push that person away, or push the wall away here. But it doesn't matter, whatever option you choose, you are doing a horizontal push right now. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nicely done. Everyone take a second. With or without weights, we're going into our T's and our I's. All right, guys, get ready. T's and I's, working those shoulders, starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. T, pause, back down, and then go out into your I, pause, back down. So you're going to keep your arms straight. This is not a press on the way up to your eye. You're here. All right, so it's like a full movement, straight arms, full extension. The presses are later, the next exercise. So out to the parallel, bring it back down, all the way up. You have about 10 seconds left. Awesome job, guys. If your arms are starting to get tired, that's okay. That's normal. Mine are too. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Awesome job. Last exercise of this set, we are going to go into our squats or our overhead presses. All right. So remember, you can do the full squat into an overhead press with or without weights, or you can do a half squat into an overhead press without or without weights. So this one from the side, you're actually pressing. The arms bend. All right. We will start together in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Press, bending the arms. This is called your rack position right here. So in the rack position, and then overhead press. Rack position, overhead press. Doing overhead stuff is really good too. It helps us get a little bit more mobile in the upper body and in those shoulders so that we can reach things. Some of the limiters that we deal with as we get older, not being able to reach top things because you just can't raise your shoulder arms. So doing these sort of exercises really does help with that mobility in your upper body. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Recover. We've got 2 exercises to go, and they are designed to get that heart rate going. All right, so a little bit of conditioning, a little bit of cardio to finish it off today. And I know why everyone doesn't like doing cardio or conditioning at the end, but the reason why we want to do that is because then we have to teach our body when we are tired, after we've done all these exercises, we still have the ability to push ourselves and get our heart rate up. All right? So you're just training yourself to get uncomfortable. Nothing wrong with that. So what we're going to start with is alternating floor taps. Feet wide, touch the floor, feet together. Feet wide, other hand touches the floor, feet together. That's version 1. Version 2 is you're just going to come down, tap, other side, tap. All right, and we're going to do 30 seconds of this exercise. We're going to do 2 rounds of these 2 exercises. And we will start in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Alternating floor taps. This is the harder version. The speed is up to you if you want to go fast or slow, or you're here, step, 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 step. So this also takes you out of just that one plane of movement. You're now starting to move in multiple planes, not just forward to back, not just side to side, but now you're doing forward, back, side to side. 3, 2, 1. Take a breather. Next exercise, we're going to go into skaters. So our skaters here, depending on how tired you are, if you want to keep them easy, just little pops, left and right. If you want to make them more challenging. And if you want to make them all the way challenging, big hops and get real low, landing on the balls of your feet. So you're kind of drawing an arc, all right, as you do your skaters. We will start together in 3, 2, 1. Go ahead. So either your here, little ones, or your bigger ones, or you're going to draw that full arc, absorb that shock with the quads. Full arc, absorb that shock with the quads. All right, so your choice. And in 3, 2, 1, recover. You guys have 30 seconds of recovery. You got one more round of these 2 exercises of conditioning, and you are done for the day. We have about 15 seconds before we go into our alternating floor taps. These ones, or these ones. You choose. All right, guys, final 1 minute of work is 60 seconds. That's it. You can do anything for 60 seconds. Let's finish it strong. Alternating floor taps starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's go. Alternating floor taps. The speed is up to you. Maintaining core control so you're not flopping around with that upper body. If you get tired, feel free to go into the step out here. Five, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take a breather. One final exercise, final 30 seconds. Let's dig deep. Let's get uncomfortable here. We're going into our skaters. So little ones, bigger ones, or the full arc, getting nice and low. All right, last 30 seconds. Let's go in 3, 2, 1. Let's finish strong, guys. Little ones, bigger ones, or the full arc where you get nice and low. So again, little, bigger ones, and the full arc. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Awesome job, guys. Awesome job. You guys are done for the day. If you guys have any questions or comments, let me know. If not, have a really good rest of your week, and I will see you guys next week.